From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. House Democrats plan to introduce an article of impeachment against President Trump on Monday, charging him with inciting an insurrection after a mob of his supporters attacked the Capitol. And tonight, Twitter has permanently banned his account. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says if President Trump does not resign, he could face a historic second impeachment in the wake of Wednesday's deadly riots at the U.S. Capitol by his supporters.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
In a letter to colleagues, Speaker Pelosi said she spoke with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, to discuss the president's access to nuclear codes. Pelosi spoke to Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes on Friday.
The person who's running the executive branch is a deranged, unhinged, dangerous president of the United States, and only a number of days until we can be protected from him.
CBS News has learned a group of House Democrats could introduce a new article of impeachment as early as Monday for incitement of insurrection, alleging President Trump's conduct on Wednesday gravely endangered the security of the United States. Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline helped author the resolution.
This is a president who incited an attempted coup to stop the certification of the next president of the United States to remain in power.
Alaska's Lisa Murkowski is now the first GOP senator to call for the president to resign. As Capitol Hill remains shaken following Wednesday's riots, Richard Barnett of Arkansas is among several more suspects arrested in the aftermath. Authorities say he's in this photo posing with his foot on Speaker Pelosi's desk. And Friday evening, Twitter announced it's permanently suspending President Trump's personal account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, after President Trump announced today that he won't be attending President-elect Biden's inauguration on January 20th, Biden said it's one of the few things he and the president have ever agreed on. Legislative leaders in Montana met today to discuss health guidelines and how to react after one of their members tested positive last night for COVID-19. But the 8-person panel did not come to a final agreement, and minority Democrats say they're still waiting for Republicans to come up with an actual plan. GOP leaders announced yesterday that Republican State Representative David Beatty of Hamilton has tested positive for COVID-19. They say he's asymptomatic and that he didn't get infected in Helena. They've also contacted those who may have had contact with Beatty this week at the Capitol and asked them to work remotely for now. But at a meeting of top leaders today, minority Democrats say there's still no overall plan for how to react to infections or for public or lawmaker health protocols during the session. Republican leaders say they've taken some steps, such as recommending masks and social distancing and creating the panel, which met for the first time today. But House Democratic leader Kim Abbott says a concrete plan is needed, now prompting Republican Senator Jason Ellsworth to respond.
We have wanted to see a clear plan with clear expectations for everyone that does business in this building, for our local community and for our local economy, and we haven't had it. I'm hoping that we come up with it today.
We're all here for a common cause, so we can have disagreements. At the end of the day, it's about coming together and finding common ground for the people of Montana, for our legislators, and for our staff. So I just want to keep us on that track, as I'm sure you do too.
The panel agreed to talk over the weekend and meet again on Tuesday to discuss possible plans. A bill designed to protect businesses from COVID-19 related liability and lead to the lifting of a statewide face mask mandate had its first hearing today. That bill, supported by Republican Governor Greg Gianforte, is part of his proposed new approach to slowing the spread of COVID-19. The bill says if people or businesses follow government health guidelines, they will not be liable for damages from anything related to COVID-19. The bill's sponsor, Republican State Senator Steve Fitzpatrick of Great Falls, says it gives clear directions to businesses so they can fully reopen. Governor Gianforte said today the bill incentivizes business owners to take personal responsibility and promote actions that advance public health. He also said if the bill passes, a statewide mask mandate could be lifted because businesses would then take those precautions anyway to shield themselves from liability. The head of the Montana trial lawyer says the change is not needed and really does nothing to protect public health. Yet a long list of business lobbyists, including the Chamber of Commerce, support the bill.
Much like it has been for almost all of us, COVID-19 has been a minefield of uncertainty for businesses. And we believe that Senate Bill 65 is a needed metal detector for said minefield, a way for responsible business owners to re-engage their communities without the threat of being sued in their pursuit to survive.
This bill just provides unnecessary immunity restricting or denying the rights of injured Montanans. And it does absolutely nothing to improve the health and safety of our communities.
The committee will act later on the bill. Many Yellowstone County businesses can now stay open later after Health Officer John Felton dropped all local COVID-19 health orders, deferring that responsibility back to Governor Gianforte and the state. It means everything stands from former Governor Bullock's Phase 2 directive last May, so the mask mandate is still in effect. Restaurants, bars, and casinos must still close at 10 p.m. and must limit capacity to 50%. All other retail businesses, such as gas stations and movie theaters, can now stay open past 10 o'clock. Gyms can stay open later, but must adhere to social distancing and 75% capacity. Houses of worship and other places of assembly should practice social distancing and virtual services, but group sizes are not limited. And now nursing homes may also allow visitors who comply with safety conditions. And to clarify, local health authorities and individual businesses may order more restrictive rules on top of that. Well, today, state health authorities reported 10 more COVID-19 related deaths across Montana, 4 of those in Flathead County, 2 of the victims from Fergus County, and also 1 death from each of Yellowstone, Valley, Lake, and Lewis and Clark counties. The statewide total is now 1,052. So far, more than 79,000 Montanans have recovered. Well, the recent decline in case numbers has also meant some good news at local hospitals who were stretched very thin at the pandemic's peak. St. Vincent Healthcare reports this afternoon that the hospital currently had 31 COVID-19 patients, with 7 in the intensive care unit. That's a considerable drop from where numbers were just a month ago. The hospital is operating at 82% capacity, with the ICU at just over 50% full. Over in Missoula, the county is renaming local landmarks in honor of the native tribes that have and still do inhabit that land. Yesterday, county commissioners voted to change the name of a major housing development project in West Missoula to Sutupcane. MTN's Katie Miller finds out why this gesture is so meaningful.
Names are critically important.
Spokesman for the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes, Robert McDonald, says he was pleasantly surprised when Missoula County officials asked for their input on renaming the Mullen Area Master Plan, now called Sutupcane, and the Higgins Avenue Bridge.
This was our home. We have lists and lists of names in our languages of the place. We have stories about geographical places there. Look, we all know the history is not the easiest history sometimes, but here we are today.
Commissioner Strohmeyer says this small gesture is long overdue.
We're not, I think, recognizing the depth and importance that other cultures and other peoples have played in this community, in this place over time.
Still, to this day, borders for Missoula County and the Flathead Indian Reservation overlap in some areas.
As such, it's important to maintain and strengthen those relationships with this sovereign nation in our midst.
Over the past couple of years, the Missoula County Commissioners renamed their meeting room after Sophie Moise, a Salish tribal leader, and hung up the CSKT flag in the room.
When a government says, let's see how we can do things better and acknowledge the fullness and the wholeness and the complexity of the history, and then reach out to us in an effort to help do that, what a wonderful thing.
McDonald says he looks forward to continuing work like this with the county in the future.
Possibilities. If we can do this, what can we do next?
In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.
Still ahead on the MTN 9 o'clock news here on the CW, time to travel from a Lewistown ranch to outer space. We catch up with a Montana astronaut after the break. But first, on the weather front, we're not quite out of the woods yet. Ed will explain in the full forecast.